Oh. At least it's stinging. So it's spelling. Wait a minute.
Kevin can probably answer that.
Exactly.
Really bad.
So for the temple project? Could I not vote?
Recuse himself.
Yeah.
He works on the project.
Yes, I would confuse yourself. Yeah,
Steve.
it's probably not a true conflict, but it's an appearance of potential propriety, so that's enough to warn
You
you.
won't be doing the work anyway.
They specifically said not anybody.
Are we all set? Okay.
All set?
I think that's the. I don't care.
Well,
I just,
well, welcome everyone to the May 27th, 2025 Planning Board meeting. As I usually ask everybody, if you can, if you're making a presentation or you have questions to ask, please come to the microphone. If you need somebody to hand you the microphone, let me know and we can assist with that. It just helps, especially if we have anybody online for them to be able to hear it. Marjorie, you want to take roll?
I will. Member Moise.
Here.
Deputy Chairman Ast.
Here.
Member Wolcott
Here.
and Member Wisnowski.
And
Oh, and Chairperson Brown. See, I leave you to the last.
that's okay. I'm here. Okay, today we received some additional comments on the minutes, so I'm going to make a motion that we table approval of the minutes so that we can look at comments.
I'll second that.
Member Moise.
Aye.
Deputy Chairman Ast.
Aye.
Member Wolcott.
Aye.
Member Wisnowski.
Aye.
Chairperson Brown.
Aye. Thank you. We are going to move to our first public hearing, 2025-5P Jacobs subdivision application, lot line alteration for Madeline's Way, tax map number 219-04-1-32. Marjorie, do you want to read the public hearing notification, please?
Yes. Notice is hereby given that pursuant to the provisions of the Town of Rush and 274A and 274B of the town law, a public hearing will be held by the Planning Board of the Town of Rush at the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, 14543 on May 27th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to hear all persons interested in the following applications. Application number 2025-5P by Michael and Barbara Jacobs for a re-subdivision application to adjust lot lines to combine two lots into one. The parcel is located at 4 Madeline's Way, Rush, New York, with a tax parcel ID number 219.04-1-32 and is zoned residential.
Is there someone representing?
Barbara.
Hello, how are you? So I guess it looks pretty simple. You're just combining the two lots. I don't know if there's anything else you wanna, any information you need to give us. I'll leave it to questions that might be needed by other members of the planning board. Carl,
Sorry.
that's all right. We'll
Just
see if you ask the same one I was.
really clarifications. So existing lot 7 is actually tax ID 219.04-01-31. And has an address of 2 Madeline's Way.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But it's
So,
never. There's no house there, so.
right. So, but the survey map is
Correct.
not correct.
Well, I did.
I know, I'm just, so that needs to be corrected. Also, there is not a,
I think that's where they got that from, is from you guys, when you did the water district, you called it 2 Madeline's Way. And 4 Madeline's Way, so that's where they.
right, I also saw it on the GIS mapping for Monroe County, so
That's-
apparently it's.
That's
there-
where they got it
Yeah,
from.
which is unusual, sometimes an empty lot doesn't have an address, but this one does.
I agree.
And lot 8, existing lot 8, is not, doesn't have a tax ID listed on it or a library page. So it just, so that was missing on there. And then on lot 11, it shows Gary and Carol Marzak with the same tax number as lot 8. So just some corrections need to be made.
Oh, I don't know what their thought.
We can find that out.
Yeah, we can, yeah, yep, I can look it up on real property.
Yeah.
That might be owned by the
It's,
same.
It could,
they are.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Okay,
I'm
it's-
pretty sure that when I was doing the letters, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
so I just some corrections need to be made before this can be signed off on.
Okay.
As far as the,
I'll contact the.
so I guess my question,
Survey.
which John Limbecker, which he was here, maybe Kevin can answer this. Once we combine the lots, what's the address going to be?
It's gonna be, that's gonna be up to the assessors, probably most likely not gonna be 2 Madeline's Way. But there's no,
That hard and fast rule?
no.
Won't
All right.
it say 4
You would-
Madeline's Way?
When it stay,
'Cause that's
If
already
it's
tracked.
gonna
That's where
be,
the house is.
The house
if
is
the
not
house
in
parcel in 4,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then it's gonna take the house
Okay.
parcel because that's more
Just a
likely.
question.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
wanted,
sorry, I had it reversed. I kept thinking the house was on 2.
No.
so-
Yeah.
No,
2 is the empty
so
lot.
just clarifying that. So as far as, I just see some additions, corrections to the survey map. Other than that, everything else seemed straightforward that, and then the tax ID, would that revert to the lot 8 tax ID?
It would presumably is gonna pick up the lot 8, which is 4 Madeline Way. It'll probably be assumed, the tax parcel will probably be assumed into that parcel.
Okay.
If that's where they're doing it.
Just those are just questions I had as far as just the details.
So I have a question for you because, okay, I'm new to this and I had a survey do this. You said that there's 2 Madeline's Way. How do you get rid of 2 Madeline's Way?
Basically, it's the lot will be assumed into the larger lot, so that address from the assessor's perspective will be basically eliminated from the rolls.
Okay, so does he need to do anything?
Filing of the subdivision map will be part of that process.
Okay.
So that'll be part of the overall, getting the map filed will be what's gonna happen with the tax count numbers, addresses, tax count numbers, post filing. So that will all have to be resolved before it can be filed. in clerk's
Okay.
office. So we'll be able to work with.
So all I have to do is call him and tell him the tax number on both those properties and the lot 4, you guys will help me with the tax.
yes,
We need to make,
yes.
he's gotta make some corrections to the map to update to make sure that the map provides to reflect accurate tax count numbers and property addresses.
So I just some clarifications and corrections. That's all I have. Other than that,
Nothing, you're all set.
I don't know if Karen had any.
No, I didn't know how it worked with the easement with
Yeah, with the town
Wait.
of Rush.
the town of Rush.
It runs with the land, so it's gonna go to, even if the land itself becomes part of a larger tax parcel, it will then, that easement will be reflected on that larger tax parcel.
Okay.
Because it runs with the land, so no matter what happens to the land, that easement will be attached wherever it is. If it, let's say it was subdivided later on, and that piece is part of the piece that's subdivided off, it would go with the new lot. But wherever that easement's located, whatever parcel that's associated with, no matter what changes, that easement will transfer.
So even though the easement is written up and is filed with that
Yes,
that
the
tax
language, the
ID.
language of the easement says it's binding on, it runs with the land and it's binding on successors and or signs. So no matter what happens, whoever takes ownership of it or whatever kind of reconfiguration of the lot happens, wherever that easement's located, it will remain.
Okay, the only reason I asked that is because we're trying to keep track of drainage easements and where the town has them, that's all.
This is the shallower end of the drainage ditch, and it's well maintained, very good.
Right.
The other end is not so well. maintained. So,
Well, because it's wet,
yeah,
It's wet.
anyway,
Since it's rained a lot.
a lot, yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Are there any questions from the? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Very much.
All right, so Marjorie, with this one, I don't have fire commissioners, I don't have Monroe County, I don't have conservation.
Correct.
So then we can,
and we don't need.
no, we do not need them.
Correct.
Correct.
That's fine.
It's
Yes.
part of our new streamlined process.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right, so based on that, I can make the close, make a motion to close the public,
Hearing that.
here, make a motion to close, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay. Member Moise.
Aye.
Deputy Chairman Ast.
Aye.
Member Wolcott.
Aye.
Member Wisnowski.
Aye.
Chairperson Brown.
Aye. All right. I just want to make sure I'm pulling up the right one. Okay, got it. So I think we don't have to put the conditions of changing the map.
I just added a sentence, the subdivision map, to be
To be-
revised to reflect
Okay,
accurate tax count numbers and property address.
okay,
Just so that way it'll pick up all the changes that need to be made, but it should be a condition, again. It more likely than not, the county would catch it, not allow it to be filed the way it currently is, but it wouldn't
Okay.
hurt to have it as part of the conditions, because we are saying that we are approving it subject to it being accurate.
so I'll let you read that one when I get to.
Yep.
And I don't believe. We had a blank on here, we didn't have an engineer,
Engineer, so that one we can.
so that one we can eliminate.
We'll get that together.
And we still need all the other signatures, but we don't need the town engineer signature.
I don't, let me double check that. I don't know if the county needs that to file the map,
There is a block, a signature block on the plan,
but
but whether it's needed or not, that's.
yeah, let me see if it's needed. It's customarily there, but let me just see if it's absolutely required.
My 2 cents, they need Karen Brown's signature.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know they need.
But we're
but-
talking about the town
I
engineer.
know,
Yeah.
I'm saying, in all these other things. County survey goes, and Sharif, and they go through this thing like a fine tooth comb, so anything you miss. They will catch,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Frank Bly, Sharif, they will catch.
Yeah, I believe when we did one of the other lot line. We didn't need. we didn't
all right,
need-
so should I just leave it on here, Kevin?
I used to work as here, Brent.
You can leave it on there, and again, if it's not needed, it's not gonna,
Okay.
it's not
All
required.
right. So now I can move and I'll read to adopt the resolution for approval.
Yep.
So resolution for subdivision approval, whereas the planning board of the town of Rush. The planning board has examined application 2025-5P for the Jacobs subdivision approval submitted by Peter F. Offermeyer, PLS, on behalf of Michael J. Jacobs and Barbara Jacobs, the applicant, the owners of that parcel of real property located at 4 Madeline's Way, Rush 144.
Oh, that should
That's
be
not right.
14543.
tax map number 219. Will we have to correct this tax map number 2190401-32? The property, is it 31?
That's
No, that's the-
number 4, right?
Yeah.
That's.
For Madeline's Way, so the applicants.
Okay,
address
you're
is-
So
right.
it
I'm
should
sorry.
stay. Yeah, that one should
Okay.
stay.
The applicant
Sure.
is requesting the consolidation of lots
4-3.
No, I'm sorry, just making sure. I was-
7 and 8 into one approximately 1.632 acre parcel, the re-subdivision, and whereas the planning board has examined the documents, maps, and other materials filed with the application, including the environmental assessment form and all, having reviewed the proposed subdivision map, site plan, environmental reports, comments, and reports from town professional staff, the public and other interested and involved agencies associated with the application.
You can end it there, because we didn't have to refer to count.
Okay.
I'm taking that out.
Okay,
Sorry.
you caught me.
I'm kind of cleaning it up on the fly as we're going.
Whereas, I know, and I didn't, so whereas a public hearing on the application was held on May 27th, 2025, and notice was posted as required by law, and whereas all persons at the hearing desiring to speak on the matter were heard, all correspondence on the matter was read, and all comments and statements that were received during the public hearing and or at other duly held meetings of the planning board were considered by the planning board. And now therefore be it resolved that the planning board has determined that it is the most appropriate agency for making the determination of significance thereon under seeker, and is therefore the appropriate lead agency to conduct an environmental review of the action. The planning board determines that this is a type 2 action under seeker, requiring no further action or determination of significance by the planning board. It is further resolved that in accordance with the requirements of New York Town Law and Chapter 100-27 of the Code of the Town of Rush, the planning board grants final approval of the proposed re-subdivision subject to the following conditions. The applicant shall obtain approval signatures of the town engineer and the Rush Planning Board chairperson prior to filing with the Monroe County Clerk's Office. The applicant shall obtain all other necessary local, state, and federal permits and approvals required for the project. And then the last one, Kevin.
The subdivision map shall be revised to reflect the accurate tax count numbers and property addresses.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution for subdivision approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Oh, I think Steve.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
It's all good. I'll second it.
Just go away.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right, Member Boyce?
Aye.
Deputy Chairman Nast?
Aye.
Member Wolcott?
Aye.
Member Wisnowski?
Aye.
Chairperson Brown?
Hi.
So,
I'm sorry, Steve.
oh. You wanted to turn.
All right. Now we can move on to street video. Public hearing for 2025 6P street video temple site plan application for green parking. 6970 East River Road, tax map number 212-0114-42003. Marjorie, do you want to read the public hearing notice?
Yes. Notice is hereby given that pursuant to the provisions of the town of Rush and chapters 274A and 274B of the town law, a public hearing will be held by the planning board of the town of Rush at the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, on May 27th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to hear all persons interested in the following applications. Application number 2025-6P by Larry Heininger for Srividya Temple for a site plan application to install green overflow parking at the temple. The parcel is located at 6970 East River Road, Rush, New York, with a tax parcel ID number of 212.01-1-42.003 and is zoned residential.
To go pretty quick, the green parking we talked about last October. It's a product called GeoBlock. You're putting down a poly grid and then filling it with topsoil and stone and topsoil, then seeding over it. And well, detail, you're leaving the topsoil about 1/8 of an inch shy of the top, so that the tires are actually running on the poly and not compacting topsoil. It has about a 1/3 void ratio, so if you have a 6-inch product, it can store 2 inches of water, which is way more than the Ontario loam that's on site in situ. This is for a total for the people out there in PV land. Total of 84 spaces. May not build them all because it's probably over $100,000 in green parking. But there are 26 on the north side that I'm advocating that they do, and the 58 on the south side. Because we need to cross that area with the 4-inch line that goes to the future leach field. I don't want to be putting that line in or have Duck put that line in prematurely so we can build parking on top of it. So I'm gonna recommend they just build the 26 spaces and see how that goes. And right now, they're obviously spending a lot of money on a very, very big, expensive building. So, and then you just had a big festival. If you're out of the site, there's a big, huge white tent. So they just had a festival. In fact, they had festivals, people come and they write checks. So. And they see progress. I mean, the whole thing was, people made donations 5 years ago, and for 2 years, there was no progress on site. They're wondering what the money was being used for. Now they see where the money's going. And that's it.
And you're using the same material that you presented to us way back, right?
Yes.
October when I did.
Yeah.
Cut sheets and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like this.
Yeah, I know, I got it in here. And so,
it's just on natural soil?
Yeah.
It's not on any sub base or any.
You scrape off the existing topsoil, set that down, and then put your stone and make it into the stone.
and did we come to a conclusion on the thickness that was gonna be used? I know there was a discussion on, you had a table with that, I'm trying to find.
They
my
make
table.
the 6 inches the heaviest duty. They also make a slightly smaller one. On the north side, I would recommend the smaller one, but we'll look at that. But either way, they will support a fire truck, which was the big bugaboo at the time. And as you know, there was a letter written probably 3 days after the meeting in October saying the fire department has no problem with this. So.
So is there equivalent truck loading?
Pardon me?
There is an equivalent truck loading, I believe, on that table.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find my.
the heavy fire truck access is an H25. And you would either use an 8-inch or a 6-inch, and if it's an HS20 fire truck, it's the same product.
Okay,
So I could find out how massive their fire trucks are.
Yeah, the only, only the southern green parking area may need to support that
Right.
because of the buildings, it's not necessary on the north.
And they currently park on it. It's just when you have rain events and then they have a festival and it turns into a mess.
Okay.
And that's why I've got a fence showing, is because I don't want them parking on the leach field. I don't trust those guys. And that's also why the septic tank's gonna be 3,100 gallon, and it's gonna be a traffic load tank. Cause I don't trust them.
So the leach field is,
Down slope of that's
and the only thing you have is possibly some piping coming out from the building.
There's a pipe gonna come out of the building and come over here, and the septic tank's gonna be there. And then there'll have to be an effluent pump, to pump over to here, and then it's gonna go gravity into the distribution box.
Okay.
And the mechanical, and
Right
the
there.
mechanical engineer originally had a grinder pump.
Sorry.
Right now, I'm reworking the pipe because the crossing was very tight and the site contractor complained. So I've got it now, so he's got way more clearance. From 6 inches to about 1.5 clearance between storm and sanitary. But the other thing, and I'll throw this out. Is the mechanical engineer had grinder pumps. And grinder pumps make everything very fine. And that goes to the septic tank and the fines don't really settle out. So they would be then sent to your leach field and contaminate your leach field prematurely. So we are switching to sewage pumps, which will pump solids, which will go into the tank, settle out. And then you're pumping the clear effluent to the field. And I'm doing the same thing at our family camp up in the St. Lawrence. I talked to 2 contractors and one gave me the wrong answer. Who do you think I'm gonna use? I'm gonna use the guy that knows the difference.
Yeah, my only, that's, I was just asking, just piping underneath here, just to make sure that everything's supported and not crushing any pipes, so that.
No, we'll be.
Yeah.
We're gonna be deep enough. We're gonna be down. 3.5, 4 feet.
It'll be a high density polyethylene force mains.
Schedule.
And probably SDR 21 replay.
That's all right, because
Or
we're
17.
Yeah,
And what's the end factor of that?
so,
there's a table that I have. That shows that the ideal depth of a pipe is about 4 feet. When you look at the soil load versus the truck load. The wheel load, there's a sweet spot on these 2 graphs. And it's right around 4 feet. Now, of course, we have a frost issue too. But once you start putting 12 feet, now you've got a much heavier soil load. It doesn't see the truck load.
right,
If you only have 1 foot of cover, it sees a lot of truck load. So,
there is that break point.
yeah, and I have it from the engineering manual, but I've got 47 years, so I'm really like a graveyard. And I hand this to young engineers and say, make a copy of this. Put it in a ring binder.
Keep that.
We'll have to have it low enough anyways for frost because there will be water in the pipe all the times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, and so you're saying you're not gonna build all of,
I'm not gonna advocate that. I'm just gonna say, let's build this. Horse.
you wanna build these 26, you
You know,
were saying.
that's easy. Just build those. Later on, if they still need them, they'll have your approval to do it.
Actually, I had just a reminder, I guess, question. As far as I can see, required space is 120. Proposed is 164 of asphalt, 62 of overflow lawn area here, and then 58 of. Well, is that 84 geoblock or 58? Anyway, I guess it's as far as this is with the owner requirement. You're far exceeding the parking that
Right.
needed or required. So this may or may not be necessary, but it's more of a convenience because of the buildings back here.
Well, they used to be able to park where the new building was going. And so
Okay.
that was, all of a sudden you got a new building going up and they're having these festivals and there's not enough parking and they're going into the laydown area, okay, and coming in and moving Sickles fence and then parking in the laydown area and, there are signs to stay out of the construction zone, and then you see people that are actually walking around and looking down in the basement and
This happens like 3 times, 4 times a year, the festival,
Yeah.
so. It's just a 1 or 2 days that there's a bunch of cars there and then they're gone. And you don't see only,
Yeah, I was just asking just to make sure. So it is basically the reason it's an offset for what was there.
Yes.
To make sure you have the same amount. No, just clarifying. I just had the question.
It's just- You know, we didn't think of everything. And again, they park there now, which today wouldn't be a problem. I walked on it 40 minutes ago.
Right. But other times,
All the time it could be a problem. They have a festival kind of in late October, November.
So the other is just a, like a long-term paper thing. So when this Sri Vidya temple's all done, how will we have a set of updated plans with
Sure.
like as-built?
Yeah, because I'm gonna provide them with as-bills. So that they know what they've got. And so provide the town if you would like. I don't know, if I've ever done that before, but no big secret.
Well, it's just, we keep adding little things on from when the
Yeah, that's fine.
original site plan was
That's fine.
done, that's all.
You know, we can produce a record drawing. You don't use the term as-built. It's bad, legally, it's not good.
she's a DOT person.
Okay. Learned that in liability 101. It's called a record drawing. not an
too.
Okay,
as-built.
record drawing, we'll
too.
call it a record drawing, and if you go to all my DOT plans,
What does it say?
it says as-built.
Yeah,
Well, they didn't go to the same class.
I guess not. So now I'll have to
Think I would-
reschool myself
I
after,
went to the same class
Yeah,
you
my
went to.
first boss told me, said, an attorney may not know a lot about engineering, but it sure make you look like a monkey in court.
Well, the thing about as built, it gives, and there's an inference of more accuracy to what was actually installed. Record plan, we put the language in there that says, this is,
your wiggle room.
exactly,
Yeah,
And I
I
ha-
get it.
and case law will tell you why.
Okay, thank you. Record drawing. Does anybody else have any other questions, Steve?
Are you gonna change any lighting for the extra parking or anything?
We'll be back to you on that. What I'm gonna do is my life. I'm gonna meet with, Roberto over at EC4B, who are our mechanical, electrical, plumbing. I put together a lighting plan back in 21 and meet with him and say, do you have recommendations? How would you like this? Okay. Also, what would the electrical load be? Now, we are gonna be having this strip of LEDs up under the FRP, the downlights, but I'm gonna make sure that all of a sudden we don't have any uplights that are like surprise, surprise. So the other part of my life is I keep getting emails from a scheduler at National Grid wondering when they can come set the transformer. And where they want to set the transformer is right where the construction trailer is. So I'm trying to get a schedule out of Sickles of when they're gonna move the trailer and when we can do pad. But the electrical engineers have not figured out the final load for the building. So how can National Grid have a transformer sitting in their yard for a building that has not had the final load figured out? And also, what are the things in the building that we want emergency generators to drive? And no one's come up with a list that if there's a power outage, they won't be cooking in the kitchen, but they're gonna have some lights on. So there are these, again, every week I get an email like, when can we set the transformer? Well, all we did is have them run for about $37,000, which was a screaming deal. They ran a quarter mile down running a 3-phase, and now they've brought it over to a pole on our property. And from there, it's gotta go over to a pad with ballards. But how big is the pad and how big is the transformer? The electrical engineer will tell us that. So I don't know who ordered the thing that's sitting in National Grid's yard, because I sure didn't order it. So that's me trying to pull all these details together. And I'm gonna go back and go out on a limb. I talked to Jim Sickles and say, I think you could probably set a transformer late September, early October. By then we'll have, we should have some of these answers within the next month to 6 weeks. But, move the trailer and all that stuff. And why I'm kind of is that I've just been very frustrated about this transformer. And trying to get an answer. And,
So, but with respect to any additional lighting, I guess that would come as a separate request if there was gonna be additional lighting
no,
added on.
lighting that I designed, we did not spill any foot candles over the property line. We were down to 0.2 and your code is 0.5. We weren't spilling anything. But, and I've done a lot of lighting, but as long as I got Roberto there. And he's the guy that's doing all the electrical power needs, why not use it? You know, and say, well, you know, are these Vipers that I spec'd the best that we could have? And then the other thing, you asked us back in October, now they want some EV charging stations. So there's other things that are gonna be running around underneath the pavement that we need to go back and capture.
So. Sounds to me like when you get a revised lighting plan, then probably
I will.
present
It-
that.
I'll come see you. And I do have a beautiful picture of St. Paul's Cathedral up in Toronto that was provided to me, all lit up, so. You know, documents that churches do have lighting. Built, I think, 1830.
Doesn't have a lot of houses next to it, though.
Well, it's right in the middle of downtown Toronto, 1830s. Anglican, it's an Anglican church.
So you're asking about lighting for the green parking. But
No, there's no lighting for that.
Simple answer.
Yeah.
It is, simple answer is, there's no lighting.
Right over my head, no.
He
They have,
needed somebody to vent through his transformer issue.
they have like people helping people park. And this is all during the day, not at night when these festivals are going. But when we're talking about the real deal with real asphalt parking stuff, then we'll make sure that our lighting plan is what it's gonna be and what will be on the record from.
Thank you.
This is my last project. Okay. Probably wrap it up in 50 years.
I'm still trying to wrap it up.
If we ever get done.
I don't think you're 70. But I'm gonna ask
We ever get.
You're not, I'm not far behind. All right. All right, thank you, Larry. Any other questions? Very good. So Marjorie, with this one here, in terms of Conservation Board,
Just conservation board.
okay. I do not have that one right in front of me,
Okay.
Oh, that one.
They are, yep,
or do I? Am I?
you should.
Am I
In your-
misspeaking
in
in
your
my
folder.
file?
It's next to your resolution.
Ah, I got it, sorry.
You just have to ask the public.
Does anybody else have any other comments? All right, thank you.
Just read.
And before I close it, I want to make sure I note the Conservation Board, so. Oh, you'll like hearing this one, Larry. This will make you feel good. We all need a feel-good resolution, right?
Talking comments from when, probably carrying signs and recommendations.
No,
Right, the one that has everything, whether you need it or not. Resolution from Conservation Board regarding the Street Video Temples. 2025-6P on motion of member Wilbur, second by member Hope. The following resolution was approved. Resolve the application was reviewed by the board and they approved the project with the following questions, comments. We are pleased to see you using eco-friendly surfaces for parking. You're welcome. All right, Marjorie, so that can go there. So, and fire commissioners, we've already,
they already approved it from prior.
all right, and we do not need Monroe County.
Nope, not for this project.
Very good. All right. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing? Anyone?
Sure, I'll do it.
I'll second.
All right. Member Moise?
Aye.
Deputy Chairman Ast?
Aye.
Member Wolcott?
He's
Oh, abstain.
I abstain.
Okay,
recused, abstained.
Yeah,
Which is the right
abstain.
word. I want, I don't, you know,
Abstain.
I don't wanna, you know.
It's in my
It's-
minutes.
6 on one, half dozen other, but it's abstain
Okay.
is. But
Member Wisnowski? Chairperson Brown?
Aye. Very good. On that, I will,
Just want to clarify one thing before we do the resolution.
okay,
Are we gonna put in here that we would, as far as the truck loading for the south green area being an HS 25, or H 25, or are we just saying, was that,
So we didn't have a determination whether the trucks here are H 25 or 20, correct?
right?
So it's a minimum of H 20.
Okay. I guess the question is, do we need to document that?
I don't think we got a number from the fire department other than them saying that it meets.
It meets their,
Okay,
their,
Well, I would say you'd have to be at a minimum of H 20. Which will take care of truck loading.
Fire truck loading.
Exactly.
Well, it's, I know,
That
I
acceptable?
know,
Right.
I know.
Well, you know, yeah, I'm
I
not
do.
telling you.
So the proposed geo block. What's the official title of the material? I wanna make sure.
Presto, right?
Presto Geoblock.
Presto Geoblock.
H
Do you
20
want to say
loading.
Presto in
well-
case they can't? Is it universal across all companies, I guess is what I'm getting,
Gotcha.
because if it's not Presto Geo Block and it's Johnson Geo Block, but it meets the same specifications as that.
Or equal,
Or equal.
Right,
that's what we say in specification,
gotcha.
or equal. And these guys are actually the suppliers right across,
Oh. Really?
Corn main.
Wow.
you know.
And a minimum of an H
20,
20 loading,
which is a lot.
which
And
is,
it's highly unlikely that a fire truck will be out there anyway fighting a fire in a building 100 yards away.
well,
That was more for a car in the parking lot though, right?
Yeah, but they're not sending the fire truck that big down.
So shall have a minimum load of H 20, is that an accurate statement?
mhm.
could call it. Yeah, that's fine, truckload.
Not for any of your trucks bigger than H 20 loading.
No. Well, the tractor trailer. Low boy could be depending on the machine that's on it, but not likely, and there wouldn't be enough room to turn it around there anyways.
Track.
But like town of Henrietta's
Hmm.
I was just asking the question.
biggest trucks
We should-
could be
we
H
needed to
25,
Make that stipulation,
not likely they'd be there, but.
that's a big deal.
I'm almost thinking when we talked about it before, we did. Talk about it, but then we didn't finalize it or.
Fine.
Yeah, because I don't think you were here for that meeting when we went.
Oh, yeah.
So is it, are we saying approve up to 84 parking spaces then?
Yes, please.
And then change that from the approximate to.
So if you put in 85, you're coming back.
Well, the site plan doesn't account for it, that's why they,
I know.
don't. That's why I just want to make sure that that's the cap.
So you, I see where you have
Yeah.
approximately and
I'm just saying up to a maximum.
are you changing that in the first line of the paragraph?
First line and then in the
there.
further resolved section.
There,
Um,
And the only other thing is in the first or second whereas paragraph. The last line, after the word involved agencies associated with this application, we can end it there. We don't need the DOT for this.
read our resolution for site plan approval. Are you ready? Whereas the planning board of the town of Rush, planning board has examined application 2025-6P Sri Vidya Temple for site plan approval submitted by Mark and Associates. On behalf of Sri Vidya Temple, the applicant, the owner of the real property located at 6970 East River Road, Rush 14543, tax map number 21201-1-42.003, the property for the installation of up to a maximum number 84. Is that how you worded
Up
it?
to a maximum of 84 green parking spaces.
Maximum 84 green parking spaces to serve as event overflow parking on the property. And whereas the planning board has examined the application maps and other materials filed with the application, including the current site plan, environmental plans and reports, comments and reports from town professional staff, the public and other interested and involved agencies associated with the application.
Aren't you crossing that out now?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Isn't that,
Associated with the application, period.
Yes,
Whereas a public hearing on the application was held on May 27th, 2025, and notice was posted as required by law. And whereas all persons at the hearing desiring to speak on the matter were heard, all correspondence on the matter was read, and all comments and statements that were received during the public hearing and or at other duly held meetings of the planning board were considered by the planning board. And now therefore be it resolved that the planning board has determined that it is the most appropriate agency for making the determination of significance thereon under seeker and is therefore the appropriate lead agency to conduct an environmental review of the action. The planning board determines that this is a type 2 action under seeker requiring no further action or determination of significance by the planning board. It is further resolved that upon consideration by the planning board of the factors set forth under 120-69B of the town zoning law, the planning board grants final approval of the proposed site plan for the installation of up to a maximum 84 green parking spaces to serve as event overflow parking on the property, subject to the following conditions. The applicant must meet all applicable town building, construction, and fire prevention requirements. The applicant shall obtain all other necessary local, state, and federal permits and approvals required for the project. The applicant shall meet all the requirements of the town engineer as indicated in the town engineer's letter dated.
Oh,
we can delete that.
come out.
We don't have-
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that, but I was just going.
Okay. So number 3 is,
The applicant shall install porous geoblock grass pavement system with a minimum load of H20 or its equivalent. Is that accurate capture or should be worded differently?
sounds accurate to me.
That'll work.
okay.
Drop numbers.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion for approval of the resolution for site plan?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, member Moise,
Aye.
deputy chairman asked,
Aye.
member Wolcott,
I'll stay.
right, member Wisnowski. And chairperson Doc.
There you go, Larry.
Great, thank you. I brought down the Mylar for the south entrance for you to sign.
Okay,
Marjorie has it.
I do.
If you. I don't want you to do it now, but if you sign it tonight,
I will.
I've got to go to the temple tomorrow and I'll swing by and pick it up.
I will
Sounds
do
good.
that.
Sounds
Perfect.
good.
I told her any paper copies that she wants and PDFs, and I'll even send a copy back to John Raymond at the county. Plus. Inside so that it's good to go. Practically put it in now. And then we'll come see about the bus,
Yeah,
which is gonna go the end of a parking bay on the. In the back, not a private road.
beautiful.
only
That was a good
Down by
thing.
the green park.
Perfect.
The driveway, grab it. So my mistake to even put it in the front yard, it's still in the backyard. Right, so, because where the dumpster is now, it moves around, but right now it's where the park for sure is gonna be someday,
Okay,
so it can't stay.
beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
All have a good night.
Yeah, Larry.
All right, next on the agenda is public hearing 2025-7P. Horse Nature Trail Special Permit, Russ Scottsville Road, tax map number 21202-1-1.1. Can you get the mic all right?
Yeah.
Matt, can you hand me?
I'll read the
And Marjorie, would you read the public
Yes.
hearing? application? Thank you.
notice is hereby given that pursuant to the provisions of the town of Rush and 274A and 274B of the town law, public hearing will be held by the planning board of the town of Rush at the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, on May 27th, 2025 at 7 PM to hear all persons interested in the following applications. Application number 2025-7P by Luke Horst for a special permit application to create a nature club on his vacant property. The parcel is located at Rush Scottsville Road, Rush, New York, with a tax parcel ID number of 212.02-1-1.1 and is zoned residential.
Okay, hi Luke,
Hello,
how are you?
good, how are you?
Not too bad. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what your special permit?
Yeah, so put up a pole barn to, for like the club to meet there and to store equipment to maintain the 30 acres that's there. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
And the special permit is for you to have a club there, so,
Yes.
and what did, tell us a little bit about that.
The club is just for people to go there to, just be in nature and not be, people, like people being there and just, just, I guess, just spending time in nature for the most part.
Okay, and in terms of people, are you looking at maybe just yourself or many more?
Myself and like some family members and friends, but not a lot initially, no.
Okay. And in terms of. Well, I think I'll let it go to questions. Let me.
Okay.
Questions?
When you say, when you say people, so like down the road, is there a maximum number of people you plan on? Or is it, do we expect to see 100
No,
people and?
no, maybe like 15. For the most part, it's like me and like, some family members type of thing. But no, not a lot of people.
You have a question?
Yes. You said nature club.
Mhm.
First thing that pops into my mind was a nudist club.
No, no. No, not that.
That would tell
I was just gonna ask if we were disappointed or excited.
Could you could you please identify yourself?
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir, could you please identify yourself and where you live?
My name is Ed Heiss, and I live on 251, just west of here, which is my second question. What is the number of this?
The address, I don't have one right now, but it was attached to 849 Rush Scottsville Road,
Towards.
Bromores. Where the strawberry field is, the strawberry field,
Oh, yeah.
it's right next to it.
Yeah.
Also, all that is Rush Scottsville Road.
Mhm.
Well, now we come to that key.
Mhm.
The 10 years we've had.
Oh, you've been in before.
Yes.
Yes.
Census,
You come to talk with the town supervisor. Yes, it's for the, it's actually for the, polling. Right? You were talking about the census and the polling. And they have you as, what is it, Scott's? Yeah.
I was told.
Scottsville Rush Road.
Gonna live on Rush Scottsville Road. Rush Scottsville Road.
Mhm.
We are 867, so not far away.
Yeah,
But at East River Road, the name was.
changes to Scottsville.
It
Road.
does.
Scottsville Rush Road.
Yes. Yes.
The government, the federal government, the head count, the census. Told me that I don't live on Rush Scottsville Road. I live on Scottsville Rush Road. Been raising a fuss about that.
I haven't seen you in a while, but yeah, he's come in to talk to the town supervisor. No, it's no problem, but yes, I know that didn't you say there's a sign down there too?
Yes, there is a sign.
That actually- Okay,
On East River Road and Route 251.
gotcha.
Right.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
right.
On the other side, I think it's called Quaker Road,
Okay,
251.
okay.
So does that mean that Rush Scottsville runs from River Road to the beginning of your property?
yeah,
So that
Rush Scottsville runs to the light right here.
Yeah,
there's
Yeah.
Scottsville Rush and then starting at your property, it's Rush Scottsville?
I guess. I'm not really fully sure.
We need something than blood.
You want to make sure you're counted? I think you probably counted.
He wants
know.
his address.
You're being counted, I'm sure, the poll.
You're the census.
I don't remember where that changed, but I thought it was East River Road.
Yeah, but Luke's property is this side
yeah.
Yes,
of East River.
yeah.
You're,
Yeah.
you are west of East River. Your proper? No,
No, he's,
East, oh.
yeah.
He's 867.
Not that far because I must have sent you a 500-foot notice,
I guess I did.
a legal notice. Yeah, okay.
Where does
All
it
right.
change?
So he.
I
is
thought it changed
within
with East River.
feet of where Luke is. but
Oh,
yes,
okay.
His road name is different.
Oh,
I don't know.
wow.
It is.
I don't know how to answer that. I know as the planning board, we don't make those changes to names on streets that I know of.
Nobody knows who to do.
That's the state road, so 251.
Yeah,
We should all just call it Route 251. We should just call it New York Route 251, the state route.
it's a little shorter.
Yeah, but it would extend from Scottsville out to Mendon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I can't, I'm sorry, but I don't think I can change that.
Please help.
Do you have any other questions for Luke about his property?
mhm. As long as it's not a notice column.
It's
No,
not,
it's not.
no.
No.
which I didn't think we would be.
Mhm.
Depending on where they are, I'm not sure. Are you on the greenhouse side of 251? So where the greenhouses are, you're on that side? Okay,
That's
so
Did you find it?
on the side,
fine.
Here's
the
849.
greenhouses that Jack Moore used to own across the road from his house.
And 867.
Okay, but what side of the road are you on? Are you on the south side?
Oh,
Okay,
he's
all right.
867, right? It's weird that that's a higher number closer. According to Google, that's where it has.
That's weird, he's saying his road is Scottsville Rush?
yeah, he's been in before. Yeah, his address is on the census. He is Scottsville Rush Road,
Oh,
not Rush Scottsville.
We were-
I will look it up though. So they are.
we just figured it out,
867.
yeah.
So which
So
one?
it looks like,
They're
it
right
looks like by a map, you should be
Okay,
Rush
this is
Scottsville.
all Luke's. Okay, right.
Historically, so nobody knows who put that sign. There. And it's illegal to take it down, so I can't.
He really wants to go out there and take it down.
Where does it say that? I guess
It's there is a sign out there. He says it's a very like illegible, like it's
No.
so,
It's federal law.
or whether, okay, so, all right, so it's still legible.
so,
Okay.
so let me ask you a question, Luke, we're getting off,
Okay.
we're getting a little sideways here.
Yeah,
But, and I'll bring it back around, I
Okay.
promise. So what will Luke's address be? Will it be Scottsville Rush Road?
no, it shouldn't be,
Oh, okay.
although he's on the same side
That's
as
what I'm saying.
Glenna, which, so I don't know,
Well, the house that was attached, it was Rush Scottsville.
right?
So
So,
I'm assuming. it'd
yeah,
be
I
that.
don't know. It's bizarre. It's real, but that's just with the census though, right? The federal?
Oh, it's also my voting, yes.
Yes, it is on your voting, right? Okay, all right.
I get tax forms. with Scottsville.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know. I don't know why
Wow.
that would be, but
And when somebody
Not
sends you a
sure.
birthday card, where does it come to?
I'll be on, but
ten, 10 years ago.
Oh, my gosh. I love it. All right, I really don't know how to answer that, but do you have any more questions for Luke? Mr. Horst?
oh, I just came to give you trouble.
I don't know where you're,
I can answer that.
okay,
What he's showing on here, the pole barn will actually be past the house behind you. It'll be that far back.
Yeah, he's back in where his driveway will come in. It is.
Thanks.
Thanks, Carl.
It's interesting, is the numbers, because I used to live at 1709, I don't know your address,
1850,
and it's, so the numbers are going up,
yeah.
so it really should be Scottsville Rush Road. It's like numbers coming from Scottsville, not from Rush.
Is that?
What's Glen?
Glenna's the greenhouses.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, what is the red?
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
you got it right there.
Does that help
Got it.
identify where it is and adjacent to your property?
Still talking about the road.
769.
Oh. 769.
Is it Rush Scottsville though, or Scottsville Rush?
According to Google, it's all Rush.
What he's showing here.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying,
So
usually
they
the
must
numbers
have
go
changed
up.
it. Yep, you're
You
right.
know what I
769
mean?
Rush Scottsville Road. So they
That way
must have
it's going up
changed
from
it.
Scottsville.
You know which way to
Coming
go if you wanted to get to Scott.
Not down.
But it's directional.
Am I doing okay?
yeah.
Thank you.
Keep your clothes on.
Yeah,
So does that give you an idea where it is property wise?
Oh, on, so.
Pole barn.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think the other thing, Luke, you can address it, but all you have back in there is trails.
Trails.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not
all-
gonna be clearing and,
No, it's all pretty much gonna stay the same.
And he won't be living there.
No,
He has a primary residence elsewhere. So this will just be for the club.
And just to clarify, I'm sorry, I just wanna make, so the pole barn is gonna be storing equipment for helping maintain the trails for the horse nature trails in the
Yes.
not-for-profit.
and do you know, I know we're gonna. If we get through this, you'll do a separate site plan
Yep.
for the pole barn, but do you know about the size of the pole barn?
30 by 50.
It's right here.
Yeah.
How tall? 12
I'm not sure
feet,
yet.
14?
I'm talking with Larry about that to submit the plans.
Their plans for overnights at all?
Huh?
Plans for overnights at all?
No,
Mac, any questions? Carl?
I just have a couple of details.
okay,
So what's shown on the plan, basically, or the application said ample parking for 4 cars. Is
Yeah.
That what you?
Mhm.
So, typically in the drawing, we would have how that is laid out.
okay,
So, so I guess my question, and it partially question, partially helping,
Mhm.
is if you have a 10-foot driveway.
Yep.
Or access way, and assuming that's big enough with any tractor or any
Mhm.
equipment that you want to bring back in there. So that driveway is actually going to access the pole barn.
Mhm.
So is that, you planned on the main doors being on the
North.
the east side?
yes,
So that the driveway would go right to that
Mhm.
point. So I was gonna suggest, as far as a parking field.
Mhm.
That would be off the driveway,
okay,
typically, 9, 10, 11, 12 feet wide
okay,
parking lane.
Mhm.
And, they're usually somewhere, 20 feet or so depth.
okay,
So if you had a 10-foot driveway and then a 10-foot parking area. Or a 10-foot to the parking area and then 20 feet. Of parking spaces. They could pull in and pull out.
Yeah.
Using the driveway.
yeah,
There also. So basically you would have approximately a 40-foot wide. 40-foot, and a 40-foot
Yeah,
square,
yeah.
that includes the driveway.
right,
So that's just some thoughts I had as far as just to be.
I'm sorry, Carl, where's the barn gonna get built back in here?
It's actually behind that house.
Right in here?
Yeah.
Would be some-
No, keep going,
Which way?
down south. It's actually gonna be, here's the property for the adjacent property,
Oh, that,
so it's gonna be behind here, it's gonna be right back in here.
gonna have to have a turnaround for fire truck too.
Depends how long it is.
Yeah, how long?
Oh, it's
Well,
gonna
that's,
be long
it's
enough.
gonna be long, it's gonna be. Down in here,
I know, I have the.
I think it's 500 feet.
You're looking back here, right?
that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
So your house is up here.
the back of this property line is 532,
You'd end up cutting
So he's
through
not gonna go
this
there.
area.
so he's gonna be over 530 feet back.
Right.
So the
So-
drawing that we have right now.
Which is part of the site plan,
shows the
but
driveway.
be
bias
prepared
over
that
Here.
yeah,
you. Make sure you tell your engineer that
This is on a property.
You're gonna have to have a turnaround.
Next to it.
ambulance
This
fire
would be the
truck
driveway.
yeah,
Oh,
that
So-
far back.
That's your
Yeah, we.
Larry
figured
would
he
know.
current neighbors.
Yeah, we figured when he
feet
comes for
over.
the site plan, he'll have all of that
Yeah.
in there,
Mhm.
so, and we'll
I think
talk.
that's what,
yeah,
200 feet
that's a long way back.
500 feet.
Frontage.
Oh, frontage.
Oh, I
It's
think it was over
Yeah,
It's
it's
over
over
200
100, it's
or
200.
200 and something, yeah,
yeah,
it's over
Which
two
it
hundred.
needed to be 150, I think.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's more than 100 feet.
thank you.
So it looks like
So. As far as special permit approval, I think I'd like to see parking defined on that, but as far as site plans with the pole barn. Yeah, the other suggestion I was gonna have is you show your driveway coming off the semicircle
Yeah,
right at the property line.
We're not
Okay.
supposed to
Oh.
build
They-
pole
there
barns
should be a
like that.
little-
Okay.
This is
I was thinking about
We're not supposed to build pole
about
barns
10
without-
feet or
Okay.
so, just to have
If we can,
just a little bit of
yeah,
space.
yeah, okay,
as a club.
That's not a.
yeah, because they split it oddly. when
Yeah.
they-
So that's the house that,
Yeah, they split the house and the land separate,
okay,
and then we
but you,
share
you,
the U-shaped
you,
driveway.
do you know the owners of this house?
I have not met them yet, no.
Okay. But that semicircle driveway still exists on your side?
Yeah, I have one and then they have the other half.
Well, that makes it a little easier to
Yeah,
access. So that's the only thing is, I was just saying that
yeah,
it should be
just
about
one straight back from there.
10 feet off the property line.
Oh, for setbacks.
Or just, I don't even know, just so there's a separation between the property line.
So he shouldn't have to have a curb cut then, right?
Right.
No,
Since
he
it's already
doesn't.
Yeah, it's just
existing
continuing
there.
from that.
He's going off
Okay,
in
good.
an existing
Yeah.
one.
I was just looking at his drawing and it just shows coming off right at the property line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just suggesting a little bit of an offset.
okay,
yeah.
So as far as an approval of the special permit, we typically have dimensions on the parking area noted in there. And we can just make that part of the resolution.
Yeah.
yeah, so you just want like 40 by 40,
I would, yes,
okay,
inclusive of the driveway.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So you based it on how many parking spots over there?
he said he wanted
I don't want four, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not gonna be a ton,
That's basically what I,
okay, said 40 by 40,
yes.
Which is basically four parking spaces.
10 stalls, yeah. I mean, 10-foot stalls.
Yeah.
Just the engineered details.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, and then I was just wondering if we should have a limit on the amount of, do we want to say maximum number of people using the property is 15 or?
okay, yeah, that's fine.
That would be a reasonable suggestion. I think it would also.
Mhm.
As long as they're not nude.
Yeah.
We got it. As long as they're not nude.
Okay. Does that sound agreeable, Lou?
Yeah,
Is somebody
I guess
watching
the
this?
biggest thing is just so that it, not that
Somebody
you
walk- go
have
back and
like a
watch
huge
this video?
event, but
Yeah,
that's just trying to maintain.
That was just, that was so.
All right.
Laugh, the laugh.
Decorum.
Um,
That's caught up.
all right, any other comments, questions?
Thank you. We're good.
Good, good. Is there any other questions? No, no, you know what? I love seeing what, everyone who lives here in Rush, right? We don't see each other, right? We all live in Rush, but we really don't know each other. So all this time, I didn't know you've been suffering through Rush, Scottsville, Rush Road. It has to be an awful thing.
That is weird.
That is
Somewhere,
weird.
somewhere just.
Thank you for
tripped it up.
sharing that, though.
Be careful what you find.
I'm pretty sure this one will get done.
All right. I haven't heard that name in a long time. All right, on that, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion for it.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All right, Member Moise.
Aye.
Deputy Chairman Ass,
Aye.
Member Wolcott.
Aye.
Member Wisnowski.
Aye.
And Chairperson Brown.
Aye.
All right,
Oh, the only thing I didn't read through is, did we have,
we did it.
okay, we
No,
didn't
nothing
need,
changed
we didn't
from
need-
before.
thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
All right. On that, we were gonna add a couple conditions on the special permit,
Yep.
correct?
It's got some at the bottom that I've added, and then the reference for the engineering comments can be deleted, similar to the other resolutions.
Yep.
I can't remember what number it was, because I've already deleted it off, apologies.
7.
Seven.
the seven.
Number seven,
Yep.
seven can be,
7's gone.
and I've got the parking field is number 7, and then, the limitation on number of club members at 8, but I can read those when we get there.
Okay,
Do we wanna, does it matter about the separation of the driveway from the property line being a?
I think I mean, do we do that now or when he puts in a site application for the barn?
Not too bad.
It'd be probably more.
Yeah.
for the site plan.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. So. Now, we talk about in one, the condition about the location of the pole barn.
Cause that's what this is. It's he needs a special permit to have the pole barn there.
Okay.
For the club.
For
And
the
it'd be in. The code allows for a club to have a structure without.
Okay.
Right.
And then do anywhere we know. We have a building permit, but we also need to have a site application.
Well, you won't be able to get you won't be able to get the building permit until the site work is, the site plan's been provided, so it would be, you're gonna need
Okay.
that. So it's part of the process. You wouldn't, they wouldn't
Okay.
issue it without having a site plan.
All right,
And then the actual location then would be part of the
Yes.
site. plan.
Yes,
Right.
all the details that we would normally see on a site plan. The sketch was provided to give conceptually where things are gonna be. When it's honed down to detail, the site plan comes through, that's when we'll have all that information. We can make sure that everything we're comfortable with, and if there's additional conditions, we can impose them on the site plan portion. This is allowing for the pole barn to be on the property, where it's gonna be situated, and all those nuances will be part of the site plan.
And meet all the regular requirements.
Yep, absolutely. This is just to allow for the pole barn to be there.
okay, so should we say? On one, we say the proposed location of the program. Should we just say proposed pole barn on the property?
Sure, but when I said proposed location, I mean, putting it on the property. We can
Okay,
just say that- We can we can just get rid of location, that, I see what you're saying, that's. I don't
It's
want people
gonna
to
come
think that
more-
It means that it's the spot
Yeah,
they're
that-
putting it, it's just merely it's
Okay.
present, so the proposed pole
Pole barn.
Yep.
All right. All right, I will read the resolution for special permit. Whereas the planning board of the town of Rush, the planning board has examined application 2024-14P.
It's 5, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
2025-7.
There's- For a special permit submitted by Luke Horst, the applicant, the owner of the real property located on Rush Scottsville Road, Rush, New York. Tax map number 212021-1.1, the property to permit a 30 by 50 pole barn to be erected on the property. And whereas the planning board has examined the application maps and other materials filed with the application together with reports and comments from the town's professional staff, the public, and other interested and involved agencies associated with the application. And whereas a public hearing on the application was held on May 27th, 2025, and notice was posted as required by law. And whereas all persons at the hearing desiring to speak on the matter were heard. All correspondence on the matter was read, and all comments and statements that were received during the public hearing and or at the other duly held meetings of the planning board were considered by the planning board. And now therefore be it resolved that the planning board has determined that it is the most appropriate agency for making its determination of significance thereon under seeker and is therefore the appropriate lead agency to conduct an environmental review of the action. The planning board determines that this is a type 2 action under seeker requiring no further action or determination or a determination of significance by the planning board. Be it further resolved that upon consideration by the planning board of the factors set forth under 120-69D of the town zoning law, the planning board grants a special permit for the location of a 30 by 50 pole barn on the property based on the following findings. The proposed pole barn on the property will support Horse Nature Trails, Inc. The applicant's not-for-profit nature club's use of the property is desirable and will contribute to the general well-being of the community. The granting of the special permit and the location of the pole barn
Yeah, I just said the granting of special permit for the pole barn and the property will not endanger public health, safety, or general welfare of the community.
The proposed pole barn is in harmony with the probable future development of the neighborhood and will not discourage the appropriate development or use of adjacent land and building or impair the value thereof. No work is to commence until the applicant obtains a building permit from the town of Rush. 5, the applicant must meet all applicable town building, construction, and fire prevention requirements. 6, the applicant shall obtain all other necessary local, state, and federal permits and approvals required for the project. 7,
The-
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Sorry.
the site plan shall include a 40 by 40 parking field inclusive of the proposed driveway. Is that accurate? And then I had for 8, the applicant shall have no more than 15 members of the club at the property at any one time.
can I have a motion to approve the resolution for the special permit?
I make the motion to approve the special use.
I'll second that.
Member Moise.
Aye.
Deputy Chairman Hast.
Aye.
Member Wolcott.
Aye.
Member Wisnowski.
Aye.
Chairperson Brown.
Aye. Luke, I want to thank you for following the process. You worked really hard at that, and I really appreciate all that you've done. That says a lot for this, and I hope this brings you a lot of joy when you finally get it all done as your place. Thank you.
And you do photography too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So that'll be fun. Very cool.
On the special permit application, these fields were blank,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
and then it was corrected at the top as far as the 7P.
yes, all right.
Just
Yeah,
want to make sure we have that
in,
correct.
in writing, yes, okay.
All right.
I might have the actual. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't have one. All right, I will fill that in. Thank you.
It looks like it was paid on the 10th, so I would think the date would.
It
be-
was the 10th, yep, yep.
All right.
Crossing the T.
Oh, that's good, thank you. Catches me, a lot of time, the electronic little boxes too, they don't get checked because they can't check them for some reason. So I sometimes will just be like. Just go down through and look at everything, make sure it's all
So
there.
you're all set, ready to start your site application. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go on to new business. We have a couple applications that are for next month. You guys should have the copy. Everybody have?
Yes,
They have those, right? And I actually remembered mine.
Good job.
So the first one is for Gorchakov. Is that how you're saying
Yes,
it?
yes.
Gorchakov, 2025. Nice meeting you.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Okay, I moved offices, now I'm over here, so come over to the window and ask.
You'll be able to hear me.
Yes, I will. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. I know nothing's been done there. Thanks.
Because of the address.
The address, yeah.
I agree.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think, yeah,
maybe, yeah.
that makes
it-
more sense.
It does. Oh, boy. I know, but
Stay well to move that somewhere.
If it happens to fall down and you don't know what happened. Impact.
I'm in enough trouble.
Thank
Thank you all.
you.
all right.
Okay. So this one, Orchard site
Okay.
application, single family home, Rush Henrietta Town Line Road.
Yes, and I have gone back to Mr. Gorchakov and we have requested new plans. Pretty much everything needs to be updated with just his property showing in the center with maybe partials of the neighboring properties.
Yeah, they should go, which doesn't pertain.
Well, this is all part of the old,
It's, yeah,
It's
all they did was
Fieldstone
flip
Estates.
whatever was part
It
of
was-
an older development.
Yeah, Fieldstone Estates. And he asked John specifically when he first brought stuff in. And John told him, no, we need actual site plans of your project. And we still ended up getting this. So I have an extensive email. I can email everyone, and let you know what all I asked for. We did talk about dimensions shown of the driveway as well as a fire department turnaround and pull-offs per New York State Fire Code. There should also be call-outs on the plan regarding soil and erosion control, stabilized construction entrance, temporary topsoil stockpile, as well as concrete washout area. These are from our new engineering firm. The electric service, where that's coming from. There should be a dimension of the distance between the well and the septic. The limits of disturbance should also be shown, whether over or under an acre for the stormwater pollution prevention plan. And let's see here. What else?
He's actually going over here with a septic.
And then pumping it, wait, that's weird.
I have no idea why he's doing that, but. I don't know whether he didn't
It's not a
have,
long way.
yeah, I know.
Let's see here. And he had no short EAF form either with this application. So I asked him to fill that out and I did attach it to the email.
So when you get new copies,
Yes, I will make sure it's on the derivation table. I did ask him to have this back to me preferably by June 6th. I have not heard anything, so I don't, and I sent this on May 20th, which was right after our PRC meeting. So hopefully we get accurate plans and not for a whole development.
but I guess if you wanna look at them and comment and see what. Those are what Marjorie, so you'll send them the,
Yep, I can send this email. Yep.
what
I-
we asked of them. so
Yep.
you'll- And the rest is just. Detail stuff. But he didn't have like an overall site plan.
right?
So.
Hmm.
So that's one. The second one is 2025-9P Gordon Green Land Survey Site Plan and Subdivision Application for another single family home. 625 Honeywood Falls, 5 Points Road. This one was detailed a little bit better than the last one. I think we asked him.
Yeah, this one I had set, and I already have the plans back, I believe. So I only have one hard copy, so I do have the PDFs though. But they've already sent me back the information, so this one, does not, according to our code enforcement officer, does not need to go to the fire department either. Okay, and this one was after a review of the plans and application. The list of items are as follows: updated site plans and specifications are needed, including call outs on the plan regarding the soil and erosion control, stabilized construction entrance, temporary topsoil stockpile, as well as concrete washout area, the dimensions of the driveway, the limits of disturbance as well for the SWIP, and then please provide any updated copies to the town, and I had them do also the same June 6th. And they've already fixed everything, so I'll put those up on the derivation table tomorrow when I am in.
The waterway here is beautiful.
It is.
The waterway that goes under the road and through that property. Neighboring like. Closer to the Cyclones intersection.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's not on this piece of property.
It's not on the property, but it's, he has a flood map showing.
Where it is in relationship. to
Oh,
this
yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Long way.
Yeah.
It is.
But he included those, like if you look at all the sheets, he included.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Yep, no, that's all right.
endangered, so.
There's a. There's a. Easement, wildlife easement on, I think on the edge of this.
Oh.
Shown on here?
true.
It's in
Yeah,
one of
I
the,
think it does.
Okay,
one of the.
wanna make sure.
I think it's one of the printouts.
Yeah, it's one of the small ones, I think.
He had
He had like a.
rare plants and animals.
Okay, yeah, that's right here.
Yeah, he had a bunch of them.
I think there was. a-
What that 100 foot is, 200 foot conservation corridor to the town. Rush
There's a list of stuff back there.
and
Yeah.
setback. What?
Just make sure we don't call him Gorbachev.
Oh,
Yeah, I've been having some issues.
that's an old name.
I wanna say it, and then I'm like, no, it's something different.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to
they're
make
very
sure that
hard to- they're
that was on there somewhere.
I didn't realize that.
Even the
that?
printed copies.
I just wanted to make, I didn't know, I couldn't remember which lot it's on, but there's three of them that. When Dick Mack bought that property and subdivided all of it, there's three of those easements. From the corner of Honey Falls 5 Points and 5 Points Road. All the way down to the last house, there's like three of those easements, I'm pretty sure.
And that's to get back on to,
So the deer had a place to walk through. Honestly, God,
Though about something where they built a bridge over a large, like, yeah, but the sailor was, so the deer travel over the.
a
bridge.
green, yeah,
Yes. What?
we've been three here.
so this was in
Right.
90. I don't even remember now. Somewhere around
Yeah.
1990. That subdivision was done and that was everything to do with that.
I didn't know that.
It really.
I have the whole subdivision map.
Oh, so there-
Does anybody have any other business to come before the board?
I'm already back over here. Sorry.
I gotta go to Saratoga tomorrow, so. No, that's all right. It's a good thing.
Oh,
Conference.
oh, yay.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Member Boyce.
Aye.
Deputy Chairman Nast.
Aye.
Member Wolcott.
Aye.
Member Wisniewski. Chairperson Brown.
Aye.
All right.
The Belmont is running Saratoga this year.
Yeah,
What's that?
I heard for the second